Belize.
Oh, thank you so
Okay.
much.
Please join me in the silent prayer.
Please join us in silent prayer.
Ameen. Allahumma ameen. Thank you. Thank you.
We will, Mr. Hussain, we will go inside now. We'll
Sure,
begin the
I'm in
session.
your hands. Whatever it is that
Okay.
you want me to
Thank,
do.
thank you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon all of you. Please have seats.
Brother Haq. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace and blessings of God be upon all of you. We are very glad and happy for all of our friends and ministers and all the dignitaries, everyone who made the time to come out. We really appreciate you all coming. We will start our formal event with the recitation of the Holy Quran, and I would request Mohadullah Sahib to come and recite a few verses.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما. والذين يبيتون لربهم سجدا وقياما. والذين يقولون ربنا اصرف عنا عذاب جهنم إن عذابها كان غراما. جزاك الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I shall now present the English translation of the verse just recited, taken from chapter 25, verse 64 to 66. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, ever merciful, and the servants of the gracious God are those who walk on earth in dignified manner, and when the ignorant addresses them, they say peace. And who spends the night before the Lord prostrate and standing, and who says, Our Lord, avert us from the punishment of hell, for the punishment therefore is lasting torment. Jazakallah.
The Ahmadiyya Muslim community are Muslims who believe in the Messiah, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, may the peace and blessings of God be upon him. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad founded the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in 1889 as a revival movement within Islam, emphasizing its essential teachings of love, peace, and justice. Today, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is the largest Islamic community under one divinely appointed leader, His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, may Allah be his helper. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community spans over 200 nations with membership exceeding tens of millions. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community believes that God sent Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad to end religious wars, condemn bloodshed, and restore morality, justice, and peace. He reformed Muslims of fanatical beliefs and practices by vigorously championing Islam's true teachings. He recognized the noble teachings of the great religious founders and saints. The Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat is often a victim of great persecution in many different parts of the world. You may notice here in today's Jalsa that there are flags in the mosque of Burkina Faso. Just recently, an Ahmadi mosque was brutally attacked, in which the Imam, along with 8 other members, were killed after refusing to renounce their faith. Terrorists forcefully entered a mosque of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Burkina Faso. Surely to Allah we belong, and surely to Him shall we return. Local Ahmadi Muslims were peacefully gathered for prayer. And this was in a village that had 650 members of our community. During the call of prayer, 8 armed terrorists arrived on motorbikes, invaded the mosque, and began threatening the worshippers. The terrorists separated 9 of the older men, including the Imam of the mosque, from the other worshippers and marched them into the courtyard. Then they demanded that the Imam, who was age of 67, that he renounces his faith, to which he responded, "If you wish to take my head off, then you can, but it is not possible for me to denounce Islam Ahmadiyyat." The Imam was then shot and killed. Then they proceeded to ask the same question to the other 8 members, one by one in front of their family and loved ones. Following this attack, the terrorists threatened to return to the village and kill all the remaining Ahmadi Muslims if the worshippers reopened the mosque or did not denounce their faith. These cruel terrorists left those bodies to stay overnight, and their loved ones could not come and bury them till the next day. As these acts continue in different parts of the world, we are honored and truly humbled to have friends who have accepted the Ahmadiyya Muslim community with open arms in Belize. May God continue to grow our friendship and enable us to continue to work together to make a better Belize. In the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, we do not ever wish or desire for any power or department or any assignment. We only wish to serve in the best possible manner. As you all know by now that Brother Naveed is moving to his next posting. We pray for him and for his beautiful family, that God enables them to serve the community in every best possible manner. May Allah enable them to do so. Ameen.
I greet you in the Islamic salutations of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
On behalf of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community Belize, we would like to welcome our beloved Prime Minister Johnny Briceño, our beloved Amir Sahib Canada, the opposition Shine Barrow, leader of the opposition Shine Barrow, Minister Kevin Bernard, Minister Wadwell Ferguson, Minister Henry Usher, former Mayor Darrell Bradley, Deborah Sewell, and also our wonderful President of the University of Belize. Thank you so much for coming. And we would like to start the address of the dignitaries with our beloved Prime Minister, Mr. Johnny Briceño.
Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. I need to start off with apologies. I was not aware that I was going to come to a formal function. I was just going to come in and say goodbye to a friend who is now leaving to Canada. So I'm quite surprised and a bit shocked that here I am at this very solemn ceremony. And so I need to start off by, first of all, congratulating the Ahmadiyya Belize for all the wonderful work that you all have been doing, especially with our young people. As you know, in today's society, our young people are going through a crisis that in many instances, especially in our most impoverished areas, which is the south side of Belize City, where in many instances you have just a single mother, or the issues of poverty, that many of our kids do not have that stable home or the love and attention that they need. And we're finding out more and more that because now these kids are out on the streets, you have the older guys that would prey on them or take advantage of them and lead them into a life of crime, an unproductive life. And Ahmadiyya Belize has been working on the streets of the south side of Belize City and in other areas of the country, and that is commendable. And I want to today challenge the other religious leaders in the country to follow this example, that is not only about preaching in your mosque or in your church, but also that you need to go out and meet your flock, to go out on the streets where you are most needed. And what we have been seeing over the years that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community has been doing here in Belize City is remarkable. It's exceptional. The basketball tournament that you hold every year among the young people, it's almost like a highlight for many of these young people. Our government certainly commends you for the work, and that I can assure you that not only our government, but the people of Belize will continue to reach out to you, to receive you with warm hearts. I look at the banner that you have to the back, love for all, hatred for none. That more than ever is needed in this world, not only in Belize, or where we, in many instances, allow that our differences divide us as opposed to try to find a way how it can unite us. But if we could always remember that we have love for all and hatred for none, it could make our differences disappear, because we could always find common ground amongst ourselves. And when you look at in other countries, even the developed countries, when you look at the level of violence that you find among religions, among communities, among people, among even within politics, it's love for all, hatred for none is now most needed in the world. Once again, on behalf of the government of Belize, on behalf of myself, we want to thank you for the wonderful work that you have been doing, and I could assure you that we will continue to support you in any way we can, and we wish you every success in your convention for the next 2 days. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful sentiment, Honorable Prime Minister Johnny Briceño. He said it was impromptu and it was very well read. So honestly, we very much appreciate the words. Next, we would like to invite Dr. Shine Barrow, the leader of the opposition, to say a few words.
Thank you. Pleasant good morning, everyone. I am very honored to be here. I have been visiting with the mosque before this wonderful edifice was created, before I was even an elected member of the House, and before I even dreamed to become leader of the opposition. And it speaks volumes as to the work that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community has been doing in this country, reaching out to the people. I joined with the Prime Minister in encouraging the other religious leaders to go and join their flocks in the communities and do the outreach, because it is more needed than ever. The issues that we face in society transcend politics, and God, religion, is the unifying force. It is the only force that can remedy the ailments that plague our society. So while I am not religious, I'm very spiritual, and I believe in the Creator, and I know that only through divine intervention, divine guidance, can we achieve anything. As the forefathers of all religions, I would say, you look at the Israelites and the Muslims, they have in common Abraham. And Abraham, they said the reason Abraham was so special is because he believed in God in a time where many people did not. And he had faith, and he demonstrated his faith when it was very difficult to do so. This is what the Ahmadiyya community brings to Belize, is that opportunity for women and men to find their faith, find their pathway to God, whatever that is. I'm born a Jew, but it is not about what divides us more than what brings us together. And what brings us together is that we all want what is best for humanity. And the only way to achieve that is through our Creator, who created us. It's like having your parents. If as a child you don't talk to your mother and father, I don't know how far you'll get, because you need to be taught, you need to be groomed, you need to be prepared for what the world has to offer. And that is the relationship that that is the divine relationship for me. So I commend people like Naveed, who is leaving us, and the Ahmadiyya Muslim community for the work that they do to be a bridge between Belizeans and God, because we certainly need divine intervention when you look at all that we face, regardless of the government. Crime, poverty, it doesn't matter whether it's a UDP government or a PUP government, we face these things. And the only way to get through these things is through divine intervention, constant prayer. I pray all the time, and I don't pray to a Jewish God, I don't pray to a Muslim God, I don't pray to a Christian God, I pray to the Creator of the universe to bless Belize, to guide me as leader of the opposition, to bless the Prime Minister and his cabinet so that they could do the very best for our society and bring the best for our citizens. So with that, I say, bless all of you. I thank the Ahmadiyya community for the blessings that they bring to Belize, and I wish Naveed all the best as he journeys on to continue to spread the word of God in his next chapter. Thank you.
Thank you.
We want to once again thank the Leader of Opposition, Dr. Shine Barrow, for his speech. And it seems that the Prime Minister...
I have at 11 o'clock.
Yes. We do know that the Prime Minister is a very busy person, so we want to thank him once again for coming and making his time.
We continue in our friendship. Please have your seats.
As the Minister of Religions, well, you know, is a very long title, but Public Service, Constitutional, Political Reform, and Religious Affairs. We would like to invite Minister, if you could join us up here with us at the table, please. Once again, I would like to thank Dr. Shine Barrow for the kind words, and we do also share the sentiment of praying to one God. No God is our God is the God of all religions, because we believe that all religions came from one God. So we do appreciate your words and the knowledge that you imparted. So next, I would like to invite the Minister of Youth, Sports, and Transport, Minister Rodwell Ferguson, to share a few words.
Thank you very much, and good morning, especially to the head table and all those who decide to participate in this event, I guess today and tomorrow. I became the Minister of Youth and Sports in January of 2022. And immediately after I became the Minister of Sports, Naveed made contact with me. I said, Mr. Ferguson, how can we work together to develop sports in this country? And right away, we sat down and had a discussion. I think the basketball competition was going on, and we figured, how can we collaborate? And I told him, Naveed, after your competition is over, we are planning a competition countrywide, because we want to reach out to young people across the country of Belize. And Naveed said, Mr. Ferguson, you have my full and undivided support. And one day he called me and said, Mr. Ferguson, I'm going to buy the shirts for all the players across the country. That was very significant, because it might be over 100 and odd players. But Naveed made that commitment, and he lived up to his commitment. As he's about to leave Belize, I'm sure his successor will take up the mantle and continue with the same efforts as Naveed. In our country, we are a Christian nation by virtue because we are part of the British Empire as a colony back then. But we accept and receive every organization, because people have a right to decide and choose which religion they want to follow. As the others say, there is one creator, there is one God, but we respect him and worship him in our own way and our own likeness. So with that said, as Naveed move on, I guess, to a bigger society, because Canada is a bigger country by far than Belize, I want to wish him all the best. I want to wish him well. And they called me in about 2 weeks ago and said they're going to start their competition, I think, anytime soon. So again, Naveed and your team and your successor, you have my full support to make sure we reach out to the young people, in particular in Belize City. There's a lot of crime. I believe by doing sports, we can reduce the crime in this country. So with that said, thank you guys very much for the invitation, and may you move on and have a very successful journey as you go, Naveed. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for those wonderful words, Minister Rodwell Ferguson. As we know, a lot of people know the Ahmadiyya Muslim community a lot for sports as well. So we would like to also invite Minister Gilroy Usher to say just a few words as well.
Good morning, everyone. Ministers of Government, Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Shine Barrow, Mr. Darrell Bradley, former Mayor of Belize City, members of the business community, leaders of the Ahmadiyya Muslim, including National President of Canada, other invited guests, and members of the media. A pleasant good morning and welcome to everyone. As the Minister of State for Youth, Sports and Transport, I'm humbled by the opportunity to share some thoughts at the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim, particularly since this is their second annual convention in their own mosque in our country, Belize. As a country, we're extremely honored to have all the guests in attendance, especially those who have traveled from abroad. At a divorce hearing in court decades ago, the husband informed the judge that he wanted to end the relationship with his wife permanently because they got married for better and all he received in the relationship was worse. That is strikingly the opposite of the relationship between the Ahmadiyya Muslim and Belize. Throughout their 9 years in the country, from 2014, both Belize and the Ahmadiyya Muslim have only experienced betterment. We therefore look forward to many more years of mutual benefits as we continue working together for the improvement of humanity. It is totally true when the Ahmadiyya Muslims say, quote, "We have made a name and a home for ourselves here, having carried out many humanitarian, community upliftment, and livelihood training initiatives. We are prominently known for our Ahmadiyya Basketball League, which we have been running for the last 8 years," end of quote. It is not an overstatement to say that those programs have impacted the lives of thousands of Belizeans across the country in many positive ways. I'm therefore happy to state that youths from all 6 districts are given the opportunity to participate in the Ahmadiyya Basketball League, and the organization has assisted with backboards and other necessary things that are important to enable the youths to improve their skills in the game as they also learn important life skills. One of the greatest joys of the Ahmadiyya Muslim is that they serve the community wholeheartedly without pressuring anyone to join their faith. That is left entirely up to each individual who see their work in the community. Mr. Navid has been the face of Ahmadiyya to many persons in Belize, but he will be leaving the country shortly to continue the work of his fellow Muslim brothers in Canada. To Mr. Navid, we say many thanks for all the good works you have done in our country, and best wishes to you as you continue your good works for humanity in Canada. I will close with these words by Dorothy Height. Open quote. Without community service, we would not have a strong quality of life. That is important to the person who serves as well as the recipients. It is the way in which we ourselves grow and develop. End of quote. May you all have a successful convention in Belize. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much once again, Minister of State Gilroy Usher. This is the second time. I very much appreciate how he researches for his speech, and he makes sure every single thing is very much informational. Thank you so much for that. I would like to next call our former Mayor, Darrell Bradley, to say a few words.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I want to, first of all, greet the head table, the Honorable Minister, Brother Navid. I want to also pay special welcome to the National President of Canada, Lal Khan Malik. He has been traveling to Belize on many occasions, bringing the connection between the Canadian Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat and the Belize Jamaat. I had the pleasure in 2014 of attending the opening ceremonies for the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat in Belize, which at that time was located on Coney Drive. And at the time, Brother Navid had mentioned all the great work of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community throughout the world. And I was very impressed by the level of service, the level of sincerity, the commitment to the fundamental philosophy of love for all and hatred to none. I had the opportunity over my relationship with the Ahmadi Muslim Jamaat to visit the Jalsa Salana in London. And I was very impressed to see over 40,000 people gathered in unity and celebration, non-discrimination, honoring God, praising, worshiping. And I was very pleased also to have been invited to the opening of this mosque, the Masjid Noor Mosque. The notion that there is light, and in my experience, the Ahmadi Muslim, each individual has been a light, both in the world and to our community. One of the things I heard when I was sitting is the notion of violence and discrimination, but the Ahmadi Muslim bears that, endures that, and preaches love, freedom, non-violence, interfaith dialogue, expressions of service, even in Belize, and they are welcoming. I have had the pleasure of personally meeting His Holiness, and the levels of insight that the words of His Holiness imparts has been phenomenal. I remember the first occasion that I had the opportunity of meeting His Holiness, and one word that was spoken. He said to me that Many people throughout the world speak about individualism. That is the most notion that is spoken. But the idea of life is not to get. The idea of life is to realize that we have a responsibility to others. We were born for a purpose, to be of service to our family and to our communities. I remember also the national president sharing a word with me. He may not recall, but this was a time when I was facing an election. And the national president, Lal Khan Malik, said to me, he said that Muslim leaders who follow the true faith, when they face a battle, when they face any struggle, when they face any election or anything that would involve effort, they never pray for victory. They always pray that whatever happens is to be of service or glory to God. That in victory or in defeat, we will represent a heart of service. And in my experience, the many experiences that I've had, both professionally, formally, and personally with the Ahmadi Muslim Jamaat, both internationally and in Belize, I have seen that represented in their heart. That there is a heart of service, that they walk with their faith. And I have been very honored and privileged to have been associated with this Jamaat over the 9 years of its connection with Belize. I've personally been on the basketball court with Brother Naveed. I can't say that I have ever won a match against him, but it has been my sincere honor. I have shared meals with him, both at the center in Coney Drive and at this mosque here, now on the George Price Highway. And I will say that the contributions that they have made to our community has been very, very significant. I remember on one occasion, Brother Naveed said to me that he wondered about the impact of the Jamaat in Belize. And when you look at this Jalsa Salana this morning, the words of the Honorable Prime Minister, the representation of the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, so many distinguished members of our community from all walks of life, all political persuasions, it says to us, Brother Naveed, that your work has been significant, that your work has been of service, and it has improved and impacted our community significantly. The fact that on your departure, no less than the Honorable Prime Minister of our country can be in attendance to celebrate and honor your sojourn in Belize is of tremendous accomplishment. So wherever you go, I know that you will continue to be that light for the Muslim Jamaat, and we wish you well. I would also like to congratulate and honor the Muslim community, the Ahmadi community within Belize and throughout the world. As the Prime Minister mentioned, we in Belize are welcoming, and we have received the Jamaat in a spirit of diversity. We have been welcoming, and we have received them well, and they have honored that friendship throughout the 9 years. And we look forward to many, many more years in terms of a healthy relationship. I've heard many of the speakers talk about the greatness of the Ahmadi Muslim community throughout the world and in Belize, their tremendous contribution. But I always believe that partnership, as the Honorable Minister talked about marriage and divorce, but partnership involves two people. And I think that this Jalsa Salana honors the Ahmadi Muslim community and their service to Belize, including the service personally of Brother Naveed. But we also must honor ourselves as a Belizean community, that we are a community of men and women who value diversity. When you look at our community and you look at the representations that we show, it speaks volume of our strength as a nation, that the Ahmadi Muslim faces violence throughout the world. They face persecution throughout the world. They have endured much. But in Belize, they have found love. They have found a place where they can share the message of Islam and the hope of the Honorable Prophet, peace be upon him, in a way that is received in a spirit of tolerance. And that speaks tremendous volume about our Belizean nation. That we ourselves can learn from the Ahmadi Muslim that we are different, but within our differences, there could be understanding, there could be tolerance, there could be unity, and we could work together in recognition that at the end of the day, we are all part of God's family. So we pray to different creators, but we honor the one God. We honor service to our fellow men and women, and we are part of the same struggle. So on this Jalsa Salana, I bring greetings on behalf of myself, my family, my community. I am grateful that the Muslim Jamaat has existed and flourished in Belize. I recognize the tremendous contribution that they have made in the many areas of our society that they have impacted, not only with young people, but promoting economic opportunities, the work of humanity first, promoting notions of empowerment, and living a life of service. And the greatest thing that I will take of all my interactions with the Ahmadi Muslim is that each Ahmadi Muslim has shown me that they are a light. They live the Quran through service. And that is an example that we all can ascribe for. So I wish you all the best in this Jalsa Salana. I wish it every success, that all the participants find meaning in the interactions. And I wish my good friend, Brother Naveed, every success as he goes in his journey forward, continuing to be a light to others. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you.
I want to thank the former mayor of Belize, Dara Bradley, a lot. I was very moved by it due to the fact that he has been there from really the beginning of the community in Belize. And he has been an example for the Belizean public in which, you know, we try to embrace our diversity. You know, when he was the mayor, he could have said, no, I don't want to participate. I don't want to lend my assistance through my department and forward such a movement. But he saw, even though Marabe Naveed, he was riding on a bike in those times, you know, he still said, I will give it a chance. And back in those days, we were in the IT vet. There was not much people you would see. But look at it now. It just shows that God Almighty truly is behind the community. And God has blessed the people of our Jamaat. So we thank you so much for those wonderful words. The next speaker I would like to invite up is the CEO of Belize Central Prison, Mr. Murillo.
Good morning, one and all. Protocols having been established, I just want to greet the members at the head table. I don't think I can pull it off like all of you speakers who have gone before me, because I'm not too good at speeches. All I can tell you is that listening to everybody, Naveed is somebody certainly who you cannot turn down. He came, I think him and I connected at the prison. It would have probably been in late 2020 if my memory serves me well. And one of the first things he did was provided us with new basketball backboards and rims for the children in the prison for their basketball court, as well as for the adult population. But from the day him and I met, I can tell you that he is somebody that you connect with immediately. He is about humanitarianism. He's about humanity, you know, trying to help the least of us. And when he came back to me last year to make this suggestion that we do a league in the prison, I grabbed onto it rather quickly. I knew it would have been something different for the prisoners. It is something that has never happened over the last 20 years that I've been in the prison. So I saw it as a, in prisons you have to, really look at the security implications, because prisons as a whole, the bulk of the operations dwells around security. And I just had to sit with my chief of security, who I brought with me today, and my IT administrator, who took on the responsibility of ensuring that the games were scheduled out properly and played when the time came, and even selecting of the different teams. But we did what we had to do because we didn't want to turn down this offer. I thought it was a wonderful way to, bring something different for the inmate population. My philosophy is that, order and discipline in the prison should be maintained, but you should have many much more restrictions than you have in an ordinary community. So, when the prisoner breaks the rules, then there is a way to deal with the prisoner so that he or she desists from deviant behavior, all right, or disruptive behavior, if you want to call it that. So I want to thank Brother Naveed tremendously for reaching out to the prison and, making the offer, something that I never thought about, even though we had already established relationship. So it was a great initiative, and I have absolutely no regrets. We did our playoffs yesterday, and one of the team came out with the championship. So I know you're celebrating your Jalsa Salana. I want to wish that every success as well, and hope the next 2 days are very meaningful for you as you go along with your conference. All right? But Brother Naveed, good luck to you. All the best. God bless you, and God bless everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful words, Mr. Virgilio Murillo, CEO of Belize Central Prison. So next, I would like to invite the Commissioner of the Ahmadiyya Basketball League, Mr. Rod Vernlino, to say a few words as well.
Pleasant good morning to all. Protocol being established. It has been a year since I've had the opportunity to address this gathering, and boy, a lot has changed. Let me first update you on the last ABL season, where we had 47 teams who started and finished the 7th season. We had a hotly contested season with 4 categories, a very attractive all-star weekend. It drew the likes of Minister Ferguson and Minister Mahler, who couldn't help but to ramp up the prize just to see one more round of slam dunk competition. After 13 weeks of play in our U15 competition, Mr. Carlton Young's Falcons won over Dangriga Savage Storm, coached by Mr. Wilbur Nunes. In the U18 category, Polo Lightburn's Future Shock won over ABS Hard Rock, coached by Poppy Leslie and the Moody family. In U22, Tropic Air Defenders, led by player coach James Sanders, won over Orange Walk Rebels. And in the open category, Belmopan's Flight 822 won over Complex Titans from Baca Martins. Yes, we had a cross-section of young people coming from all over the country of Belize. We Then moved on to the Belize Central Prison, where we just heard Mr. Murillo. We held the ABL season with the inmates competing by buildings. We had the help of Chief of Security, Mr. Gladden, and IT Tech, Mr. Howard. The inmates had to be on their best behavior, and boy, they were. We had a hotly contested competition. As a matter of fact, it concluded just yesterday with Tango 4 winning over ARC. We now look to start the 8th season this Sunday at the SJC gym. We have pledges of 52 teams who wish to participate, including 2 from our neighboring Chetumal, Mexico. This one, once again, promises to be hotly contested, like always. As Brother Naveed moves on, I would like to highlight his importance to the continuity of ABL. When we were struggling, he didn't say, let's call it a wrap. He rather said, what can we do to make it better? I rather not look on him moving on as a loss to the league or the Jamaat, but rather again, we gain someone who knows our shortcomings and can encourage further assistance from wherever he goes. Brother Nav, who loves to joke around about my height. His wife, who makes the best nachos. Leica, who likes to act shy. His son Ikan, whose favorite word is bro. And Khadija, whose favorite line is, what's your name? We will miss you all. And we wish you nothing but the best in your future endeavors. I thank you.
Sorry about that. I just need to get something over. I would like to invite Ms. Deborah C. Wells to also say a few words.
My legs are too short. Good morning, everyone. We've all heard of the great things that Ahmadiyya has accomplished in Belize, and I'd like to take the time to reflect on meeting Naveed and building a relationship with Naveed. I'm a little bit emotional, sorry. But Naveed and I met approximately 8 years ago. And as Mr. Lena, not Mr. Lena, but the young man said, at that time, his main transportation was a bike. And I don't exactly remember how we met, but I do remember him meeting with me and talking to me about the plans of Ahmadiyya. And a couple of those was looking for a home for Ahmadiyya, working within the community. He was already doing a lot of community outreach. And we would spend a lot of time just talking about Love Foundation and Ahmadiyya, and me asking a lot of questions, trying to learn more about Ahmadiyya. And he was very patient, and he would sit and talk to me for hours, answering all my questions. And then there were also the times when I would say to him, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it, because every time he was met with some kind of opposition or some challenge, he was so positive, still remained very passionate, committed. There were times when I would have quit, but he was committed. I had the opportunity of going to Jalsa Salana 2017 in the UK, and I spent a lot of time with the women. We visited some of the, I would call it mission houses, where the missionaries live. They prepared for accepting their mission abroad. And one thing that rang through the entire time was their commitment, their passion, their love for everyone. You know, that was one of the things that, those were some of the things that really stayed with me. And there were times when I was experiencing challenges, and Naveed was always there to encourage. You know, at one time, we didn't have a home for one of our programs. He opened the building on Coney Drive and allowed us to use that building for our program. Sister Khadija was there, always like a staple in the kitchen, always making food for us. You know, I got to know Umar and, you know, James and some of the other guys that came down and worked closely with us, doing a lot of training programs for our different activities that we had through the Love Foundation. Naveed has done a lot in Belize. Naveed has really, as everyone has mentioned, really allowed people to understand the kindness, the compassion. Really, I think that on a whole, we have really learned a lot about Muslims, about the community, about what they stand for. We've seen it in our communities. You know, I remember the ABL starting up with very few teams. You know, us at the Love Foundation scrambling to make some donation to try to get the kids to Cancun or Miami or wherever they had to go. But, you know, there were always those conversations. And through every conversation, I walked away learning a lot, feeling a lot better, and just really feeling the energy to recommit myself to whatever it is that I was doing. I'd like to thank Naveed for coming in my life, for being a support to me, and most of all, I'm gonna miss you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for those wonderful words. Representative of Love Foundation, Deborah Sewell.
Can we fix the audio?
Sorry for the technical difficulties. We newly put it in, so maybe we need to fix it a bit now. On to the next person. I would like to invite Dr. Vincent Palacio of the University of Belize president to say a few words.
I bring warm greetings from the University of Belize to all gathered here. I recognize those on the head table. I recognize the government ministers, the leader of the opposition. I believe he's no longer here with us. Recognize all. Thank you for the invitation. It is an honor and privilege to convene with you today at the Jalsa Salana Belize 2023. I want to thank Ataul Haq Gab for inviting us to share in this activity, along with the spiritual leaders from the Ahmadiyya community in Belize, for reaching out to the National University to be a part of this journey today. When I read the purpose of the convention, among other things, is to strengthen community ties. I felt that it could not be more relevant as we as a nation continue to struggle with understanding the true essence of brotherhood, especially as we ponder on the question of how to transform our communities through wise use of our spiritual and religious resources. We know that you have some of the answers evidenced by the work you do, and I've heard quite a few since I've been here this morning. We know by design we were not made to go about our lives alone, but we must lift our communities together as one. The Ahmadiyya community continues to serve as an example of taking this uplifting to heart as you engage with various communities in impactful programs, particularly with young people, among others. We want to congratulate you for your good work and expressing our deep appreciation for what you do in the mission in Belize. We at the University of Belize stand ready to work with you and is in full support of the outreach you do with our young people. I also would like to join those before me in wishing Brother Naveed a safe and a positive future as you move on to where you will be assigned. Once again, congratulations. I thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank Dr. Vincent Palacio once again for his kind words, and we look forward to working with the University of Belize in future endeavors to better the people of Belize and the youth of Belize, inshallah. Next, I would like to invite Minister Kevin Bernard, the Minister of Health and Wellness. Please.
Thank you very much, and good morning. Good morning to the head table and to all present here today. Dean, President, I see representatives from the Colby Foundation, but of course, I want to acknowledge my former mayor colleague, Darrell. I see members of the media in here. Good morning. I wasn't prepared to give a speech or somewhat, but you know, we always, as individuals, we have to be ready to be able whenever they call upon us. But let me start by saying how grateful I am to be here at this very special occasion for the Ahmadiyya Belize Jamaat group, and of course to share the very much experience that I had when I met Naveed a few years back when I was the mayor of Orange Walk Town. I recall when he met me in Orange Walk and started to talk about what Ahmadiyya does and the humanitarian services that they offer. And I said to him from then that, you know, you will always have my support. You will always have the support of the people of Orange Walk at the time. And of course, as a minister of government and as a Belizean myself, I want to first of all congratulate you for a job well done in Belize, and I hope that wherever you go, that you continue to spread that love and that appreciation to those you will reach out to. And I know that your predecessor, or your successor, sorry, will continue the great work here, will continue to provide that service to the Belizean people, especially to our young people. As Dr. Palacio just mentioned, it hasn't been easy working And I see, I think is that Mr. Polo? I see Mr. Polo in the audience, and a very much passionate individual for sports in Belize in basketball. And I have seen Ahmadiyya develop and grow the league here in Belize, especially with the Belize City youths. And so, let me say that on behalf of myself, my family, and the wider Belizean public, and I know our other colleagues will express the same, I just want to encourage those who are involved, those who participate in these activities, to continue to understand that we do this, or they do this, because of the kindness and, as I would put it, for the love of what God has given us. And whoever we celebrate, whoever we worship, we must respect that. But at the end of the day, it's the service we offer to others with the compassion and the love. And we want that, just as that has been passed on to our young Belizean youths here in Belize City, that they do likewise to others around them. It's all about brotherhood. It's all about working together. It's all about bringing peace amongst each other. So once again, thank you very much, and may bless you.
Thank you.
Once again, we want to thank Minister Kevin Bernard for his wonderful words, and we would like to finally invite our Minister Henry Usher to say a few words as well.
The disadvantage of being put at the head table is that you have to speak last. And with so many great speakers coming before me, there's not much left for me to say. But good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Such a powerful greeting. Assalamu alaikum. Peace of God with you. And certainly in our world, in our country, in our communities, we need peace. It's something that is sorely lacking in today's so fast reality. And certainly we have to condemn religious violence wherever it's happening. You know, Burkina Faso is just the latest example, but it happens so many places around the world. And we are so privileged and happy that it doesn't happen here in Belize, that we are a peaceful nation, that we are a welcoming nation, that we are a nation that practices religions, so many different religions. In fact, it is enshrined in our constitution, religious freedom. And as we embark on our constitutional reform happening right now, it is important that we reinforce those values, those principles that are enshrined in our constitution, the protection of religious liberty. And certainly, I am a full supporter of that. I certainly want to welcome the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat National President of Canada, Lalkan Malik. Welcome again to Belize. You're always welcome to come and share your spiritual words with us, to teach us to become more spiritual in our own daily lives. I want to congratulate Brother Naveed for his time here in Belize and wish him well as he moves to Canada. Naveed and I recently met. I don't have the relationship that the former mayor has or the head of the Love Foundation, Debbie, has with Naveed, but he and I have had a few conversations, and he is somebody who is passionate about what he does, and I'm sure he will take that passion to Canada, and he will take some Belizean culture with him to Canada as well. Naveed, I'm sure you learned some Creole, so you better take that back to Canada and teach them something, right?
Yes, my brother.
And I certainly want to welcome Brother Arslan as he's taking over the presidency of the Ahmadiyya Jamaat Belize, and wish him well as he takes over this very important post. And I have to congratulate him. I see a beautiful young baby in the back. Congratulations on having a Belizean baby, Arslan. I'm sure she will love rice and beans. I'm thankful to be here today and certainly join with all of you on this first day of the convention, the 8th convention of the Jalsa Salana Belize. It is a gathering of our local Muslim community with the theme of uniting through communion. Our community is made up of individuals from diverse backgrounds with varying beliefs and practices. But despite these differences, we are all united by our faith in God, in Allah, and our commitment to serving the community. Of course, and we've heard about this, one of the ways in which a community comes together is through sports. Many of our youth have found a sense of camaraderie and belonging through participating in local sports teams that the Ahmadiyyat Basketball League has been running for the last few years. My son was a participant for the last 2 Ahmadiyyat tournaments. He's now studying at LSU and still playing basketball, but he fondly remembers his time playing with the Ahmadiyyat League. Not only do these teams provide a positive outlet for our youth, but they also serve as a way for all of us to come together and share in a healthy activity while getting to know our community. Certainly as parents and as community, we have to go out and support our players as well. And I see Teddy here, the head of the referees. He knows that I'm a very vocal parent when I'm out there. Sometimes he and I get into some serious arguments on the court, but it's all good, right? In addition to sports, Ahmadiyya has also made significant contributions through charitable works, from organizing food drives for those in need to volunteering at local shelters. The community has demonstrated a deep commitment to serving others. These acts of kindness not only help those in need, but they also serve as a reminder of the importance of compassion and generosity in faith. Ironically and coincidentally, we also celebrated George Price Week this week on Monday. His birthday was on Sunday, and he would have been 104 years old had he still been alive. And certainly, the values that he taught us, the values that he brought us up with, the Belizean values, our community values, those are the values that we have to continue to promote. The values of inclusion, the values of tolerance, the values of love. These are values that make Belize what it is, and we have to continue to promote those. And we have to continue to partner with our religious communities to make sure that those values permeate all of our society. It can't be done through social media alone. It has to be done in the community. And you've heard speakers before me speak about this. We have to go out into our communities. We have to build back that community spirit that we somehow have lost in Belize. So as you come together over the next 2 days, be reminded of the important role that your community plays in bringing people together. Whether it is through sports or charitable works, you have demonstrated the power to make a positive impact on the lives of those around you. I would like to say thank you for setting an example of what it is to be each other's keeper. My wish for you is at this time of coming together to share your stories and to build stronger bonds with one another reinforces and renews your belief in the importance of unity and the role that you all play in creating a stronger, more compassionate Belize. Inshallah, through your efforts over these next 2 days, may you leave this gathering feeling more united, more connected, and more committed to serving those around you. Let us continue to work together, and certainly from the Ministry of the Religious Affairs, we will continue to support each other, to lift each other up, and to make a positive impact in Belize and the world around us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those wonderful words, Mr. Henry Usher. Last year we were congratulating Rabbi Naveed for his service to actually creating the mosque. This year now we are sending him off to Canada. It has been a wonderful journey, and just to remember that this is Jalsa Salana, not about Naveed. But we do. I know that the Belizean public and even the Belizean members, of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, and we will miss him as a president. And so sentiments will be sentiments and emotions will be emotions. Please Rabbi Naveed, don't start because I will start. So, with great honor, I would like to just invite him up before we invite our beloved Amir Saab to speak. But please, Rabbi Naveed.
I will not cry today. I did that 2 days ago and the whole nation got to see it on Channel 7. I came here 9 years ago. I was serving in Toronto, Canada, and I got a call by our missionary in charge back then that we're thinking of posting you in Belize. And my first question to myself was that, where's Belize? Right? It's small. So I came here and I had a small apartment that I was staying in back then. I wrote to the national president of Canada back then that the buses are so small that I don't fit in there. Right? If you can please help me, with the vehicle, I can move around easily. And his answer was that your community is small. You need to do some work first, and then hopefully we'll think about it. So I said that okay. Let me, give me permission to buy a bike. So we got the permission, and that was the beginning of our mission here on the bike. But as Mr. Bradley said, and so many other speakers, that it seems like I'm getting way too much credit for what I've done, but I think most of the credit goes to you as a nation of how great people you are. Often, Belize is not. When our guests come here, they say that we heard this about Belize, the violence and this and that, but they have no idea how wonderful people you are. I was left alone here at the beginning when my fellow missionary went back. And I didn't know how to start. So Brother Vernon, who was a local friend, he said, Brother Naveed, no worries at all. He took me around on his bike, and I would ride my bike. He would show me, this is the library, this is the the court, the Supreme Court, this is the mayor's office. And then I didn't have. Whenever I needed a vehicle, Brother Zach from Ali Graphics, he said, Mr. Naveed, here's my keys. Whenever you need it, my car is standing right here, and treat it as if it's your own. You have no idea how great people you are. Right? So the biggest thing that I'm taking from you guys is the title of brother. Most of you came here and said that brother. That's the biggest memory that I'm taking from here. I don't want to say too much because I haven't thought of leaving from here. Whenever I think about it, it makes me cry. Because I never thought of leaving, to tell you honestly. I had already planned out that, maybe I can get some space right here in the graveyard. This is where I belong. Right? But being missionaries, we have life devotees, and we're told to go wherever our community, the head of the community, sends us. And one of the things that he did mention about 6-7 years ago when we went to meet him in the delegation was that Brother Vernon, who is no longer with us, he said that, Your Holiness, I want to say that Brother Naveed is doing a very good job in Belize. And he looked at him and he said that I know that he is, because if he wasn't, I wouldn't keep him there anymore. So now you know why I'm leaving, right? I think another reason that I enjoyed here so much was because I grew up in the village myself, in a small village of Pakistan, right? And they say that you can take a villager out of a village, but you can't get the village out of the villager, right? So that's why I think I just thought that I belonged here. Back then, they had no boundaries in the village. You can just go to any house. You can eat here one night, go there, drink water from the next house, and that's what I felt here. The only thing that stopped me was the dogs. Otherwise, I can just roam around and go to any place. Right? A lot could be said. One thing that I do want to mention before I leave from here is that we have a silent warrior amongst us, and he doesn't get enough credit. He left before me, but he's here for our Jalsa here, and that is Brother Omar. Right? Please give him a. He's been my right hand while I was here. He had to leave before me also. I'm always the vocal one, and he's always the silent one, but he does most work and I get the credit. Right? So please keep him in your prayers also for his wonderful service here in Belize. And with that, I say thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. MashaAllah, he kept it up. He kept it strong. He kept it strong. So thank you so much. And we would like to now invite our beloved Amir Sahib for his final words.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. The outpour of love and welcome that we have witnessed from the people of Belize makes us feel very fortunate. Our thanks go to God, the gracious, who has put this love and compassion in the beautiful land of Belize. I come from Canada, and most of the year in Canada is cold. But we have warm hearts, and we bring warm greetings of love for all, hated for none, for you all from Canada. There is a little story how Belize was selected as our next country where we should convey the message of Islam. We were looking around, and all the countries in Central America and South America were speaking Spanish. And we did not have a missionary who would speak Spanish. Now, all of a sudden, one of my friends suggested there is a small country, Belize, where they speak English. So we selected Belize because you speak English. And we sent our volunteers first and then our missionaries. And it has been a story of love from both sides. We brought love and we received more love. Thank you for all that kindness and acceptance. On this occasion, I want to share my message of how we can feel peaceful and how we can feel happy. The Minister of Religion just mentioned that we all need peace and happiness. All people want to be happy, but most of them do not know exactly what would bring them happiness. Some people think if they get wealthy, they would be happy. Yes, wealth does bring happiness for some time, but it only for some time. After a while, you want more wealth to make you happy. And then you want more wealth to make you happy. The same level of being wealthy cannot keep you happy for all time. Some people feel that if we are famous, we would be happy. Yes, fame does bring happiness, but for a while. The Holy Quran, and all religions for that matter, tell us that true happiness can only come from the source of happiness and peace, that is God the Gracious. And we read in the Holy Quran, and I quote, "We taught Luqman the wisdom that you should be grateful to Allah, grateful to God. You should be thankful to God." Now, be thankful to God is a simple statement, but if you think about it, it's a very deep wisdom. When you want to be thankful, you think about the blessings, favors that you have received. You have to count your blessings and think about yourself in your life. How many blessings have you received from God? The Holy Quran challenges us that you would never be able to count the blessings you receive from me. You would never, if you try to count the blessings of God, you would never be able to count them. Sometimes we do not realize, we take things for granted. All this vast universe, this world, we think the world is a very big place. When you compare it with the solar system, it's a tiny speck. And when you consider the solar system in the galaxy that we are in, the whole of the solar system is a speck, is a small, tiny piece. And when you consider our galaxy among the millions of other galaxies, you feel that we are simply inconsequence. We have no real comparison. All this is affecting us. All the systems that God has created is having beneficial effects on all of us. We don't realize. So if you think realizing in how many ways God the gracious has been graceful to us, we would feel gratitude for God. And when we feel gratitude, we feel happy. And God guides us further that true happiness comes only through expression of gratitude to God. You would be happy only if you remember God with love, being conscious of all His favors. And He has another promise. God has another promise. And we read in the Holy Quran that if you are thankful, if you are grateful, we would further multiply our blessings. I would further multiply my blessings on you if you are grateful. So the secret to happiness is that we should be conscious of the favors we receive from God. We should think about things we have. We should not think about things we do not have. This is the secret to happiness. May God enable us all to feel humbled, feel thankful to all the favors of God. And again, I say that the expression outpour of love that I've seen coming from all of you, you have welcomed us with warmth and love and compassion. It's only God that that He can reward you. May God make Belize a happy, peaceful, and prosperous nation, envy of other nations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Love Amir Sahib, Canada. With that, we are closing the session. But you know, we would not like to leave you empty-handed. So the men of the session of the first session of the Jalsa Salana, please, if you can go down into the tent so that you may be able to get your lunch.
After the prayers, right?
Oh, yes. I'm very sorry about that.
Yes.
We must do silent prayers before. Amir Sahib was just saying that it's only through the grace of God that we are even here. So, of course, we must remember God through silent prayers. But
Sorry, I forgot to mention one thing. All those wonderful things that you said about me, if you just take me out of the equation and you put Ahmadiyya in there, it will make perfect sense. Whatever the things that you thought that you saw in me and Brother Omar is what the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat has taught us. And having said that, the new person who's taking over, you will see same thing in him too, even better than me. All right? So just want to say that please welcome him. Please be very kind to him. I know I'm leaving him with a lot of pressure because when I started off, there was no pressure on me, right? It was we had to build up, but he's taking over with so much activity that's going on, so he will need your cooperation, right? Please pray for him, be kind to him, and help him in every way possible, right? Thank you.
it is our tradition to end all important events with a silent prayer to God, that God may bless this occasion. So please join me in the silent prayer, and you may pray in any manner you like for the blessings of God for this conference. Ameen. Ameen. Thank you very much.
Just wait for the announcements.
Please. Once again, the lunch will be served for the men under the tent, and the lunch will be served for the women up in the library. So please enjoy yourself, and thank you so much once again for coming. Assalamu alaikum. The tent here. That's why you must go through this area and go around.
Yes, yes. And even for the sisters that are going upstairs, announce that they're supposed to put their shoes on and go through.
Okay, please. Also for the women, when you are leaving outside, you can use your shoes. So you don't have to enter the library without shoes. You are able to use your shoes.
I think went okay.
Only the audio.
Yeah, you should have shut it off.